to That KEVIN Show with Kevin McCullough.
And we're back with a very special discussion with Jim Caviezel, who is the lead in the new movie Sound of Freedom, and he portrays Tim Ballard, who, true story, has been rescuing children. You don't realize it, Jim, the average American doesn't, but we have a problem with human trafficking here in the United States. It is worse globally than it's ever been. In fact, I just read some statistics the other day. We have more humans enslaved on planet Earth than we have at any point in time in human history. And I think that hits some people that aren't quite familiar with some of this material, and it shakes them up a little bit and says, how is that even possible? I thought the abolitionist movement solved all that. But the truth is, humans are doing more evil to fellow humans than at any point in time.
Yes. You know, Tim Ballard told me that this is so big. You know, Jim, what do you think of the Super Bowl? Is that a big, you know, day in the world when that? Yeah, I say, yeah, it's big. He says, well, NFL makes between 11 and 15 billion dollars a year. If you were to take all the NHL hockey teams, you wouldn't even be close to how big this is. If you took the NBA basketball teams with NHL, with the NFL as well, and then you added on all the soccer teams in the world, in your Champions Leagues in all Latin America, still wouldn't be enough. And Europe still wouldn't be enough. And then also add on every 18-year-old in the United States getting a full ride to Stanford University for 4 years, every 18-year-old, then you're talking 152 billion.
That's the amount of money that trafficking is producing these days.
Procuring children, organ harvesting, adrenochroming, all of it. And there's a lot of things, like the last word that I said, oh, I'm not prepared to have that conversation. Well, because you still believe that the media is telling you the truth.
Yeah, I've noticed that you stumbled into some trouble mentioning that word. Can you, for my listeners who are not as educated on it, just explain what the controversy is there?
Well, okay, so let's go to another word, crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Let's look at the Passion of the Christ. What did they do? They went after that film. They didn't like that narrative, and they don't like this one either. They throw things out there like when we were filming it, this QAnon, which is a part of this whole thing. And so every time I go and do a film, I have to go into heavy research. I look at things that I don't want to look at, things I don't want to see, but I have to, because I've got to take it to the level to be able to artistically show you what's going on. And they're terrified of this film. They're attacking this film like they attacked the Passion of the Christ. Because when it is the truth, they attack it.
But is it beyond that? Is it
adrenochrome? You can look it up on the NIH. It exists. Okay. It's a chemical composition. The molecular structure, I believe, is C9H9NO3. They use words like ambrosia, which in the Greek would be the essentially the drink of the gods. And we go in this film, ladies and gentlemen, just to understand, we don't go into this, but this stuff is happening, and it has to be stopped. And so when you look at, for example, a law that's passed in California on organ harvesting, okay, or when you look at that word and a law where you're now being able to kill babies after they're born. Now think about it. Now we got to stop being gullible here. Why are they killing the babies after they're born? How does that save the mother's life? Then when you start to learn and you put on your big boy pants and you start to learn about organ harvesting, well, why waste the blood too, right? So you're tormenting the child. It's not just adrenaline that goes in the body and that is released. The child has to be under great stress and fear and has to know it's going to die. And this is how it creates, goes through the pineal gland into the brain. And I can't explain the rest of it because this you're going to have to do your own research on this because it's so horrific. But this is the early stage, and the Christians have to be on the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
They have to be the ones to understand it. It'll always be this way. Because if Christians really are the bearers of the truth, there at some point the devil is going to have to take them down. And when you are willing to offer your name, your reputation, your very life to stand for the truth, you're able to do this because love is greater than evil. Love is what motivates you. Love is the only thing that I could do to get those little kids from stop screaming in the night, because I knew that I was going to do the job. And that what does Jesus say? He talks about not fearing those that can take your life, but those that can take your mortal soul. And I'm sad for God, because we don't love him enough. We don't love him enough to do something about it.
Jim KEVIN, stay right there. Coming right back.
He'll be right back. That Kevin